Hi, everybody. Uh, you who are watching, we're talking today about collaborating with other businesses, building strategic partnerships, and yeah, building our businesses through connections, building connections. What do you say, Nate? Oh, right.
Yeah, hey,
We're
how you
Nate and
doing?
Simone. We talk all things
Yeah,
marketing. That's what we're doing here.
exactly. This is um, an interesting topic. I was just talking about this morning with some folks, so it's very pertinent. I think it applies. It can apply to any type of business, any size. Especially local businesses. Though I think it's very helpful.
Yeah.
Collaboration is really key, and pooling together resources I think is very cool. So anyway, this is the stuff we'll be talking about. But yeah.
Okay, cool. I saw something. I actually saw something like this a little while back. It was I think it was a movie, but in the movie, the lady who managed the mall, it was a mall situation. The lady who managed the mall was about to raise rents on everybody, especially the businesses that weren't bringing in a whole lot of profit. I guess maybe they take a percentage of the profit or something. And if you're not bringing in much profit, then the mall itself isn't getting much. And so they were like, okay, we'll raise the rent on you. Um, but what ended up happening was, the other person who was working with her was like, you know, we're just, all we're doing is to hurt people. And so they came up with an idea that this little store had this, they had a gift wrapping station in the store, and it drew a lot of people. Whereas the big store kind of at the end of the mall, they wanted to do gift wrapping too, but their gift wrapping wasn't as good. And so they partnered the two businesses together. One, because people go to the big box stores a lot of times because the prices are cheaper, and so people would go to the big store and get their gifts. It was around Christmas time. They would get the gifts and then bring it to the smaller store for their pretty beautiful gift wrapping. And then it boosted the business of both of them actually. And so it made sense. It was good. It was like very it was very collaborative, and it was a win-win situation for both.
Yeah. So the key question of today's discussion is: could your next big marketing win come from teaming up with a like-minded partner?
Mm.
And so the just to give an overview of what we're going to be talking about, we're going to explore the mutual benefits of strategic co-marketing partnerships. We're going to highlight actionable strategies for leveraging collaborations, and we're going to provide some insights into identifying the right partners and structuring a successful partnership and what that looks like. So this is for small, medium-sized business owners who are looking for scalable marketing strategies without increasing resources or budget. All right, so collaborations aren't just a trend, they're a proven strategy for growth. So we're going to explore how partnerships can make significant impact on your marketing efforts. First up, co-marketing opportunities and what that means. So what in the world does that mean? Co-marketing.
Oh, um, I was thinking of promotions. Would you like consider promotions as part of as part of marketing, where two businesses are promoting together, and they may be collaborating on a product or a service, and they both promote the product or service to their audiences.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
You're sharing resources, I think, is one key aspect.
Mhm.
You're also so that the resources could be your budget, the audience, right, or the creative materials that are being um, created as
Mhm.
part of the process. You're also increasing your reach without duplicating efforts. So, getting twice as far by doing half the work, right?
Half the work. Yeah, that's
um,
right up my alley.
yeah, exactly. Who doesn't like that?
Yeah.
And then you are also building trust through thought leadership. The key component here, I think, with co-marketing. So, real life example of co-marketing might be, us actually, our discussion here. This could be seen as a co-marketing effort of sorts. these, these,
Marketing.
yeah. So I think that's good. I was talking earlier today. I was just talking about this. I spoke with a couple of local chambers of commerce who, obviously, chambers of commerce in small towns especially really are struggling these days, as you may or may not know. um, it's difficult for them to continue to be seen as the resource in the local communities when everyone has access to the internet, right?
Mm,
And so the internet is a great thing because it breaks down barriers and it opens up the world to people. But in so doing, some of the sort of unforeseen consequences are things like, you know, chambers of commerce who traditionally have filled that role of connecting business owners to each other in the community, encouraging promotion and that kind of thing. And that's kind of fallen off a lot of cases for a number of different reasons. People find that they can reach their target audience on their own using social media and this online tools, right? And so they
hmm.
don't need that the local chamber. Like, what are they doing for me, right? Um,
Oh,
and so I think that's a lot of that has led to chambers not having enough money to like really sustain big programs that would actually be beneficial. So kind of like this precarious position. Those that are successful do it really well, but many of them are struggling. So what we talked about was opportunities for collaboration, right? So the idea was, I provide a topic of discussion, 15 minutes, show a video. It could be like a book summary is what I'm thinking of doing. Book summary, show the video, and then the book obviously is going to be like on a marketing related topic. So then we kind of shape a 15-minute discussion around that topic. People come in, business owners come in, they bring their problems, obviously with them, their experiences of being business owners, and the topic, the information is going to be key to their where they're at right now, right, and their struggles. That's the idea. So it's sort of a co-marketing opportunity. So I'm borrowing the Chamber of Commerce audience, right? They're allowing me to use their audience, come in and set myself up as a subject matter expert, right? But
hmm.
then it's also providing them the opportunity to give these resources to their members, right? So it's a win-win-win all the way around. So
Win-win, yeah, absolutely. Well,
um,
there's another I think I have a collaboration that I have going on. I think it would qualify as co-marketing situation where a friend that I'm working with, a coach, is speaking, has a talk to a group, and she asked me to come in and do part of the talk. So she's going to talk about um, writing a book and using that book as a great lead magnet to draw an audience. And then I'm going to come in and talk about once you have your book done, well, now let's put together a book funnel that you draw people to in order to for you to deliver the book and to capture the information of the people who are interested in getting your book. So so
mhm,
that's a collaboration that we have going.
yeah. Good stuff. Some other, famous examples of collaborations might be Nike and Apple and their collaboration that they did. You know, Nike, of course, brings their expertise with fitness and sportswear, and Apple brings their know-how with technology. So they're integrating the. I think if you have an Apple Watch, for example, they have like the Nike um, sports function. There's actually a Nike specific edition, I think, of their
Oh,
Apple Watch
interesting.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's Starbucks and Spotify working together, where the idea was to create a music ecosystem where Starbucks employees would and the customers could curate playlists for the music that was played in the stores
Oh,
through
nice.
through Spotify.
That's
Um,
cool.
yeah, it is. Yeah, it's a great idea.
Mhm.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then there's GoPro and Red Bull, which I mean, come on, that's
Yeah.
a great
Makes sense
partnership.
there. Absolutely.
um,
Absolutely.
I don't know if you were if you saw where they went to the edge of space and did a jump. The guy had a
Oh,
GoPro strapped to a helmet, and it was sponsored by Red Bull. He jumped out of a Red Bull plane.
oh wow.
it was
That's cool.
it was amazing. Yeah, look that up.
Cool.
It's on YouTube, I'm sure. But
Okay.
anyway, so yeah, I could come on. There's more and more, but just some examples there.
Okay. The ones I'm thinking of are like Coca-Cola and McDonald's, or Coca-Cola and lots of different restaurants, right? You
Oh
go
yeah,
into a McDonald's and you want to have a soda, they sell only Coca-Cola products. Whereas in KFC, I think it's only Pepsi products.
yep.
Um, there's um, KFC
Because
and
it's
Taco Bell. Sometimes like
uh,
you'll go and you'll have the two stores in one in one location.
Yeah, it's a little bit that's getting into a gray area because I think
Mm,
Yum Brands owns both of those companies. So
yeah.
like
Okay.
I think Yum Brands just bought it up. Like, okay,
So
we've
they
been working together
partner
for so
their
long, we're just
brands
going to buy you.
together. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it makes
yeah,
sense
yeah.
though as a partnership. If they were separate companies, it does make sense as a
At one
partnership,
point
right?
they
If
were, yeah, yeah,
yeah, you go in for a burger and fries, you need a drink to complete your meal.
yeah.
Well, who's going to provide the drink,
I think
you know?
Coke and McDonald's have been together since the beginning. I don't know. I'd have to look at that to make sure, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a long
Um,
time.
there are a lot of coaches I know that they do summits. They do summits and what they call bundles, where you put together an event and you invite a lot of other coaches to speak on a particular topic. And um, and it's each coach is will send the information out to their audiences. And when the audiences come and they're watching the summit, they're seeing their coach, but they're also seeing other people. And then each of those people has a lead magnet. They're giving away something for free in exchange for content information. So everybody's email list ends up growing because you're exposing your audience to other coaches, other experts,
Yeah,
and and they're exposing their audiences to you. And now they're like, oh, here's somebody new that I've never seen before, I've never met before, but I like what they
yeah.
have to say, I like what they have to offer, and so let me join their mailing list, let me get their free thing. And now everybody's mailing list has grown.
Yeah. And I think one of the key functions here of collaborations like this are that they are cost effective. You're pulling resources together, using each other's audiences, and kind of piggybacking, right? And it's a quick, relatively low cost way to grow together, I guess. So so that's all well and good and everything, right? Collaborating, but you gotta be able to find the right partner. That's the key, right? So now we're gonna talk a little bit about how to go about identifying those co-marketing allies, what that might look like. So um, here's some questions to think about as we're discussing this. First off, who aligns with your business values without being a direct competitor? I think that's key.
Yes, very
Um,
key.
we talked about, fast food with beverage makers, right? That makes sense. The beverage makers aren't making food until they buy your company, and then they're. But anyway, that's.
And then they're making food, right? Yeah.
But that just kind of goes hand in hand, right?
Yeah.
Can we think of any other examples of that?
Um, well, like you said, the Nike and Apple,
Yeah,
you know, um,
yeah,
one makes the tech and the other one is athletic wear, and they're not going after necessarily the exact same market, but they can expose their product to a new market by leveraging working with another brand.
yeah. And they have just realized that my Fathom isn't playing. Sorry. Uh, it should be now, hopefully. Uh, maybe not.
Oh, sure. Mine.
Okay. Anyway, I lost the train of thought there. Um, okay.
I'm talking
Oh,
about
shoot.
brands that come together for
Yeah,
co-marketing, and
yeah,
they don't each have the same, they don't each do the same thing, they don't have the same
yeah.
audiences. And so that makes
Yeah.
it easier to come together and share resources and budgets and
And
um,
that's where
make it
um,
cost effective.
the cost effectiveness comes in, right? But
Yeah.
there was something I was going to say specifically to this um, about direct competitors and whatnot. Oh, I guess I was going to say Nike, for example, though
Mm.
like they're more into sportswear rather than the technology aspect, but
Yeah.
they have a certain reputation for quality, right?
Right.
Quality sportswear. So if they see, and of course Apple is not going to be associated with a company that's not, you know,
Right.
at a high level as far as that's concerned. So
Yeah.
you feel confident seeing both of those names together because they both have an equal amount of attention to detail and quality, right? So
And
that's
quality. And
crucial
right.
there.
So businesses align. They have similar
Yeah,
values,
yeah, exactly.
without necessarily being direct competitors. That makes sense. You
So
know?
next question, does their audience overlap with or complement yours? Is the next
Mm.
question to ask yourself. So I think for sure Nike and Apple make sense in that case, right? Because you have an Apple Watch, people want to use it for sports, tracking fitness, and it just kind of makes sense, right?
Right.
You're going to be out there running
Absolutely.
anyway. You probably in Nike shoes, so you might as well
Might
just go
as
ahead.
well wear
Yeah.
Nike shoes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So audience overlap uh, or complement is key. So me going to talk to chambers of commerce makes sense because I want to help small, medium-sized businesses who are probably a part of the chambers of commerce, right?
Yes,
So
absolutely.
go to the common you know place where they all meet. I guess that's kind of the idea of there. Um, Next, another question: do they have a strong enough reputation to elevate your brand by association? So going back to what I said about Nike, right? That makes sense. That's that strong reputation um, piece there, and
Yeah, they
elevating
say when
by
you're
association.
right, if you don't want to necessarily partner with somebody who is, say, Apple or Nike, you wouldn't necessarily want to partner with a company that is just getting started. They're just off the ground. Um, they don't really have much of a reputation yet, or um, so you don't necessarily want to partner with somebody just like completely unknown. They're both fairly well elevated, and have brand recognition in the marketplace, among the public. So they're gonna they're going to partner with a brand that's on their up rather than somebody either rather than somebody even, a lot lower. Uh, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. It's like guilt by association, but this is elevate by association, right?
Elevate by association, guilt by association. I like that.
So,
Well, yeah, that can happen too with a lot of these brands. That's why they throw off some of their the people that they endorse that
yeah, you
they
got
have
to be
endorsement
careful.
deals with, right?
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
guilt by association there.
I think probably one of the most famous examples of this would be Yeezy.
Yeah,
That whole thing. Wow. Anyway,
yeah, absolutely,
we won't go into that,
absolutely.
I think. But
So yeah, there is if you're a coach and you want to grow your email list fast, one of the best strategies to do is to actually partner with somebody that has a similar size list, and you market your stuff to their list and let them market their stuff to your list, and both of your lists grow. But you wouldn't necessarily, if you have a list of 5,000 and you're trying to partner with somebody who is, fairly new and just getting started, and their list is only 500. Well, that's kind of a mismatch, and you're not on equal footing. So it's better to go with somebody with a similar size list. Or if you're a local business, partner with a company that has been around, maybe around the same amount of time that you are, maybe have the same amount of Google reviews that you have, that kind of thing, right? You
yeah,
don't want to
yeah,
partner with, if you've been around for 10 years and you have a fairly good reputation in the community, you don't necessarily want to partner with a brand that, a store owner that's just putting this sign out front. They put a sign out front yesterday.
yeah. Although that being said, that could work. I could see that working if you want to help a
There's,
local a new business owner out.
mm,
That's
mm,
gonna, there's a certain amount of trust involved there,
yeah.
So
But you'd have to examine them and like go
yeah,
and work with somebody who has the same kind of
yeah,
values. Um,
yeah,
you don't necessarily know a brand new business's values. So
mhm,
it would be a cautious thing. Like, don't go, maybe not go all in, but do little promotions here and there, and
yeah,
evaluate them and make sure that their
yeah,
values align with yours, you know.
yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah. You
sometimes when it
can,
comes to money, people get weird.
exactly, exactly. Well said.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to describe it, but
Uh,
yeah, very true. Um, okay, so that goes to that shared values, complementary goals for that long-term success. If your goal is to build your business, grow in the neighborhood, for local businesses especially, um, and you are seeking someone to kind of help you with that, then by all means, that might be a thing to consider to pursuing. Um,
yeah.
and if you are a new business, you know, um, it would probably behoove you to join forces with a more established business, um, and so that might be a really important tool in your tool belt there when it comes to your marketing efforts, I think. But
And a
again, you
lot
have
of
to
times
convince
it
them.
ends up being an investment for the larger business to
Yeah,
uh, to then invest in the smaller business and kind of help bring them along and
it's true.
boost their reputation.
So, so I guess this is where the chambers of commerce comes in handy, right? Because
Yeah.
there's kind of there's kind of like a lower level of risk there, right? They're kind of like the go-between, the middleman, to a certain extent.
Mm.
Chambers of commerce exist for all businesses, and you know, they can provide that opportunity for co-marketing, efforts. Um, but they can be that person that says, you know what, I've checked these guys out, they are good, and I recommend you to this company and that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. So anyway, something to think about.
But
All
there's
right,
kind of
so
another kind of partnership that tends to happen, that it's strategic, it is win-win, but when it comes to a larger business partnering with a smaller business, um, then you can end up with more of an investment situation, like what Alex Hormozy does with acquisition.com, you
oh, I
know,
see what you're saying. Yeah,
you
and
know.
literal
So he,
and like I'm going to give you money to do this. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes, and not just money. He um he invests in the business. He takes an equity stake in the
yeah.
smaller business, and then helps that business, uses his expertise and his team and his knowledge, um, his tools and everything to help that business to grow. And as that business grows, um, his equity stake becomes that much more valuable.
Right. Yeah, but they have to be at a certain level to begin with in order
Exactly.
to
They
make
have
it
to be at
worth
a
his
certain level
time.
to get, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
um, yeah.
Uh,
So, and I see other people do that. They do it in such a way where, okay, I'm the service provider, I'm an agency, I'm a consultant, and instead of asking for my entire fee for what I'm going to do for you, I'm asking for an equity stake in your business for either forever or for a certain period of time or until certain conditions are met, things like that. So that's also that can be a win-win situation where the smaller business can get access to the services and the products without necessarily having to put the money down up front
mhm. Yeah.
in order to access it.
Um, so I guess, how do you go about finding these partnerships? Starting looking at your current network. Who are your suppliers? Who are the local businesses near you? Do you have online connections? You know, I'm sure that every person is connected to enough people to get things going the right direction. It's just a matter of reaching out to them and um, I guess saying the right thing to a certain degree, but being open to that idea and that opportunity as well. And
So,
really thinking it through. Uh, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? And how is this business that you're approaching going to help you achieve that? You know.
yeah.
Um,
So as you're approaching a business that you'd like to partner with, so it makes sense to make sure that your goals are aligned with their goals or whatever their goals are. Say if you're trying to help them in exchange for an equity stake or whatever, that their goals are something that you can help them achieve, possibly. And helping them helps you to reach your goals.
right.
Hmm.
You can also, people on LinkedIn might be interested in partnerships or working together on things. Industry expos is another place you can find people, or even just networking events. Sort of, BNI comes to mind, but there's all kinds of networking groups out there. It's just, you know, matter of you putting the effort in to find them.
Yeah.
Facebook groups, probably. Um, okay, so let's think here. Well, anyway, so now that you've gone through the effort, you've identified a potential partner. How do you actually make that partnership work? So, and I guess the hint here is that it's more than just a handshake. Sadly, it's not that simple anymore.
Yeah.
But So, so how do we structure these win-win partnerships and make them win-win? Um, I think first off, approaching with a clear value proposition, like I just mentioned, what do you want out of this conversation? What is your goal here? What are you hoping to, what's the outcome that you want to see? So, and also keeping in mind what you bring to the table. What can you offer? It's not
Right.
just about your needs. Like I need to get the word out, and I know you're an established business, so you should tell people about me. No, no, no.
Hmm.
That's not gonna be good enough.
Yeah.
If only it were that simple, right?
Right. I mean, it comes down to, like, building relationships, and not necessarily looking at just what you want. They say this is a great way to network too. When you're going to a network situation, think about how you can help rather than just what you need to get out of these relationships.
Yeah. I, what is it? Even if you have like a long-term email nurture sequence, they always say you need to give three things before you have an ask.
Hmm.
Before you ask someone for something. So always be thinking about what you can do for the other person, how to
Yeah.
make it more mutually beneficial. And
Yeah.
when I approached the chambers of commerce, that I definitely had that in mind. How is this going to benefit them? you know,
Mhm.
um, and what I landed on was this is going to be beneficial for their members because it's providing them a resource, a tool, at no charge for them,
Mhm.
but it's going to be helpful. It's going to be informative. They're going to be able to walk away with actionable steps, that the chamber would not normally be able to provide on its own, right? And so, me being a local business as well, so it's just kind of beneficial all the way around, right? So, yeah,
Right.
that's
Right.
kind of the idea. Um, and then having that outlined, maybe even typing it up, you know, so you
Mhm.
don't forget. Like clear, these are the bullet points. This is the benefits, right?
Yeah.
It's like selling anything, right? Or marketing anything. You want to focus on the benefits. How is it's the famous thing, right? The acronym WIFM, right? What's in it for me? Everybody
So
wants
for
to know
me,
that.
right?
Doesn't matter who you're talking to, you know.
Absolutely.
Um,
I say that's everybody's favorite radio station,
W
WIIFM.
WIFM, yeah, yeah, exactly.
That's in it for me.
And then that doing that, having that clearly outlined, helps to establish that trust, right?
Yeah.
All right, so I think we had kind of talked about this a little bit. The ways to propose and structure the partnership. We talked about starting small. Uh, test it out first. That might be a good idea. Start small, and then to kind of make sure that all the horses are pulling in the right direction. I like to
Right.
say.
Absolutely.
um, and that might manifest in several different ways. Like it might be as simple as creating a co-branded flyer of some kind.
Mm.
Um,
Or an affiliate program. That would work.
now we're getting more advanced here. You just jumped right over everything else. No, I was kidding. Uh,
Sorry. I'm
I'm
backing
joking.
up. I'm backing up
I'm
now.
joking. I'm joking.
Yeah, it just
uh,
popped into my head. Like, that might be a great way to start small, in that
yeah,
you
relatively low
one
effort. But
yeah, where you provide assets for somebody to promote you. And um, if they're drawing in some good leads, good clients for you, then you may want to increase your relationship with that person, and make that relationship even deeper, and go further with co-marketing and strategic partnership.
yeah, I've seen like local businesses around me who, oh, I don't carry that, but this shop down the street does.
Mm.
that kind of thing. But if they're not talking to each other, if they don't know, if you don't know what the other businesses have, that makes it a little more difficult, right?
Yeah.
So making yourself known to the other business owners, especially if you're new in the area, just going up, shaking hands, talking to them, tell them what you have is probably a good idea. The local
Oh,
chambers, again, usually they try to help facilitate that to some degree, but there's no reason why you can't, do stuff on your own. There was another example
yeah.
where some local businesses, there's so like there's kind of like the downtown area where I live, small town, and then there's
Hmm.
businesses who are kind of more a little bit further away from the downtown area. So what do they do, right? Because it's not so simple. Because it's not. You could walk there, but it's not really that convenient as far as that's concerned.
Yeah.
So the one company was a outdoor kayaking company. They have kayaks and ice cream, right? Great for summertime stuff, right? So they partnered with another a restaurant that's upriver from them to have like promotional. Hey, come in, show us your receipt for this company, and we'll give you 10% off or something like that, just as
That's awesome.
a co-marketing type of situation, right?
Yeah.
So things like that, and that's not a big deal, right? Nobody's really spending money on that other than the 10% they're giving off from it, right? So, and that's
Yeah.
worth it, I would think. Uh,
Yeah.
anyway,
And 10% is worth it to acquire a new customer.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um, so make sure that you're outlining the responsibilities and the timelines to avoid confusion. I know
Hmm.
of another situation where a couple of businesses were kind of doing cross promotion on social media. So the one business said, I'll do the social media," and so they did it. But then, as after they'd been doing it for a while, they're like, "Okay, well, we want you to pay us now for doing this." Nothing like throwing a wrench into things.
Right,
This
right.
this was not what we expected. So
Yeah.
making sure that everyone understands from the start what we're going for here. Uh,
Yeah, I've seen that happen too.
yeah,
There used to be there was a guy here who he was an event planner, and he used to find struggling restaurants or restaurants that had days where there wasn't much traffic. They didn't have many customers, and so he would pick a day and go to that restaurant owner and say, "Hey, how about if I bring my event to your restaurant? You provide the food and everything. You get customers and." And I sell the tickets to my event. I have an event space, a nice place where I can hold my event. And he would do that for a while. And then the restaurant owner would say, "Oh, okay, well, now that I have all these customers, I don't need you anymore," and would get rid of the guy promoting the event, which I thought was kind of stupid because I'm like, but he's bringing people to your restaurant. Like the reason they're coming isn't necessarily for your food. Maybe some of them will come back if your food is good and they feel like, okay, it's on my path or whatever. I
yeah,
don't mind driving the 20 minutes to get here or whatever, because the food is that good. But more than likely they're here for the event. They're not here for your restaurant.
yeah,
So
yeah,
why not keep the event happening? And they're coming on a day when the restaurant is usually empty, when he has no customers at
yeah.
all, hardly. So yeah, sometimes they don't think that through.
People get weird about money, as you said.
Yeah, people get weird about money. People get weird about money, and I
um,
don't think that the restaurant owner was actually even discounting his food for the people coming
I
in
was
for
going to say,
the.
was there some kind of an incentive to the event planner at all,
Maybe
or
there was a little bit of a discount, but
yeah, yeah,
as I remember, because I was an attendee at at a few of these events, we paid our ticket to get into the event. Um, but I think we also paid for our food,
yeah,
whatever the price was on the menu.
yeah? And you haven't
Uh,
gone back since.
yeah, no, I haven't gone back to these restaurants since they stopped the event.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I mean, Yeah, it wasn't the restaurant that kept me coming. It was the event.
Yeah. So this is where the next point is monitor and measure metrics that matter to both parties. If they were doing a better job of monitoring the metrics, then they probably could have made a clearer case as to why the restaurant needed to continue in this situation. It would have been
Absolutely.
clear. Um, Look at this chart. Look at your sales
Yeah,
specific to this event. Um,
absolutely.
yeah. So let's see what else. Examples of co-branded content campaigns. So
Mm.
joint webinars, like yeah, I think you actually mentioned this, didn't you, about having um,
Yeah, like how they do the summits.
yeah,
Um, yeah, that's almost like a joint webinar. It's like a very long webinar, but
yeah,
and sometimes they're multi-day events. I've been to a couple that are, you know, 2, 3 days long, and they'll have 10 or 20 speakers for each day, and each of those
yeah.
speakers has has materials that they are willing to give away, juicy stuff, in order to get your contact information. So um they're everybody's each speaker's mailing list is growing, and now they're able to nurture some new people on their mailing list as they're coming in as a result of the summit.
I think one of the best examples of this is Content Marketing Institute, if you're familiar with
Hmm.
them.
I haven't
This
heard
is
of it.
this is what they do. They have
Hmm.
these webinars that they set up. Like they're all about educating people about the wonders of content marketing. But
Hmm.
so obviously one of the tools that they use is webinars. And these webinars are sponsored, right? And
Hmm.
the event sponsors are also the spotlighted speakers, right? So it's a win-win-win all the way around. So
Yeah.
the sponsors, by sponsoring, get a speaking slot, and then it exposes them to the broader CMI audience. So
Okay.
it's not exactly I mean, that's a type of partnership. I mean, it's an ad partnership situation. So, but
Yeah.
the the level of exposure they're getting out of that is probably well worth the money that they're paying, I'm sure. So,
Right. I've seen where people do these anthologies. Have you heard of those? These anthology books where each chapter is written by a different person, and each
yeah,
person
I have.
pays to be in that book, and then
Yeah.
that book gets marketed out to lots of people and sold to lots of people. Each author actually is supposed to also, sell a certain number of books.
Hmm.
Um, and so, you get each reader gets exposed to new authors that they've never heard of before.
Yeah. Um, there's also shared email promotions. So I've seen this where, I will feature you in my email newsletter that goes out. And sometimes people are actually selling, I guess you could call it ad space in these newsletters in order to be exposed to an audience that they wouldn't normally be exposed to in that case, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, And then there's uh, collaborative blogging as well. So you might have guest bloggers. This is kind of like a great way if you're doing SEO to build backlinks as well. You can approach people that have blogs related to a topic that you want to write about and create an article there and then all of a sudden you have a link back to your website and that generates that SEO juice, as they say. Not that I believe in that, but
I've
um,
heard of that term,
it's
SEO
good for
juice.
that anyway. It's backlinking, right?
Yeah,
Hopefully they're legitimate.
absolutely.
Going back to what we're talking about earlier about making sure that they're on the same shared values and have a good reputation, right? So that's going to be key there, especially.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
okay, so partnerships, basically can be miraculous if you do it right. But what goals can you set for these collaborations to make sure that they translate into tangible results? That's what we're going to talk about now. About the
Okay.
goals, achievable goals and outcomes. All right, so this is we've talked about this quite a bit, right? Short-term, long-term objectives and why you want to have those. Why in this case? Simone, would you say?
Well, a good way, a good reason for putting in place a short-term goal would be to test the partnership, to make sure that that you're not forgetting anything, or you're not you're the partner that you've chosen, you haven't misjudged the situation. Um, it's that's a great way to test it and to see if what what they're offering you and what you can offer them is actually a good match. Um, yeah, I think that's a good short term, a good reason for a short term goal.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, and it's also helpful to put in place a short term goal if you have a short term goal, like you have something that you want to accomplish. You have a maybe you have a launch that's coming up, and it's coming up in a month, and that's a short term goal.
yeah,
um, you might want to achieve.
yeah. So what, your goal, one of your goals may be to increase your domain authority on your website. So that's where you go looking for backlinking opportunities by doing this guest posting on, guest blogging and all that kind of stuff. As an example, that would be probably a longer term goal because SEO takes longer, but short term, like a reason for doing setting goals to begin with is obviously so you know what direction you're heading, right? And they can they can be related to your financial success. That could be obviously one of the things. Could also be more about uh, just increasing awareness. It could be more about oh um, oh let's see what else. I guess
Increasing your subscriber list.
yeah, yeah.
That's a that's a great
It,
short-term goal.
yeah, so that's an example of short term. So increasing brand awareness, getting your growing your email list. Longer term might be you're building a longer, deeper a brand association of your brand with another brand in audiences'
Mhm.
minds. You could also be looking to drive more conversion rates um, through the repeated collaborations.
Yeah. It's a great way to gain customers without necessarily outputting money, doing
Right.
any paid advertising or paid promotions or anything like that. Um,
Yeah, it's like
so that's
another
a great
channel,
goal
right?
is to yeah. It's a great channel to use as far as in order to save on your budget, your marketing budget.
Yeah, and it's sort of it's sort of an extension of word of mouth marketing to a certain degree, especially if your partnership is built around the other company's audience, right? You're kind of like it's quality by association, right? Like because this brand is agreeing to promote you, then they're saying to their audience that yes, we endorse this company. You should take a look at them, and it's probably vastly improves the time to conversion and the velocity, sales velocity, right? In
Right.
that case, so
So it helps you to, yeah, collapse time, build that know, like, and trust faster.
yeah,
We want to put in people's activate that principle that birds of a feather flock together, right?
right,
There's this great company out there with this great reputation, and if they are willing to partner with me, oh, well, then I must have this great reputation and I must be this great and valuable company as well, right?
Yeah, yeah. So basically, collaborations aren't just about saving effort, they are about opening doors that you might not have ever even known existed. So, you know,
Hmm.
let alone been able to open. So we're gonna wrap it up here. Just go through a summary here. First off, we talked about how partnerships save resources while increasing your reach. Um, they are good for collaborating and being successful at it depends on making sure that you have shared values and goals and clear goals. I think that's making sure everybody's on the same page, short and sweet. And then starting small, tracking those results, and keeping that relationship going is key to having a long-term successful partnership in this case.
Yeah. This isn't something that you want to kind of just once set it and forget it. It takes nurturing, it takes building the relationship. It does take time and effort. So, but it can yield dividends for your business and for your brand awareness and your brand's reputation.
Yeah.
So, absolutely a great strategy for your marketing.
Yes. All right. So it's a force multiplier for your efforts there. I think that's kind of a military term, but not that I'm military, but that's the context I've heard it in. But anyway,
Right.
all right. So call to action here. Take the next step to identify one business in your network that you can collaborate with. Uh, Stay tuned for our next discussion coming up next week.
Yeah.
And we're gonna
And
throw
don't
in,
forget to like, subscribe, and
yeah,
share.
yeah, and I have a guide that'll help kind of jog your mind as you kind of work through the idea of who you can collaborate with and that kind of stuff. So I'll throw that in, I'll link that in my video on my channel. So
Okay.
yeah,
Get on mine too. Yeah.
there you go. Okay.
I don't want anybody to miss out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's pretty simple. So, but simple is good, right?
Yeah, simple is good. Simple is good.
Yeah.
All right. So that is strategic partnerships. Go out, make some strategic partnerships, build those relationships, and come back and tell us about it in the comments. Okay. And we'll see you next time. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.